channel, everybody. So in this video, I initially thought I was going to show from the beginning to the end of replacing the shocks on the CJ2A project, which we call Ned. We've named him that since we got him. When I started about halfway through filming the video, this happened. So when that happened, it actually broke the screen of my phone, so they weren't able to recover the pictures in the photos and videos on my phone. So I ended up having to start all over again. But at least at this point, I'm actually just at the point of installing the shocks and replacing some of the pins that you mount the shock to, because some of them were really rusted. And so this is a continuation of that video. But before we get to that, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. It definitely helps my channel. I'm trying to grow this channel to get at least 1,000 subscribers. But if it don't get to that, it's no big deal, because I really value the subscribers I get. I've formed a lot of good relationships out of this YouTube video series. But enough of me talking, let's get to work. Just to get you caught up to where we are now, I purchased these new old stock shocks from a local supplier that had them stored way in the back of his storage area, and he found them for me and he asked me if I wanted them for a real good price, so I definitely jumped on those. So we have those. We have replacement quarter pins to put into the mounting brackets. I have some 3/4 inch steel pipe that I'm going to use. I'll show you a little later in the video. And I have this round stock steel that I'm going to do to use to replace some of the mounting pins that are totally rotted off. At this point, I removed all the tires. I lifted up the Jeep a little bit so it would be raised up so I could remove the tires. And I removed the old shocks and cleaned up the original mounting pins. This back quarter here, the pins are in perfect shape. This area here, this is what I'm going to actually use that 3/4 steel for, to replicate this area. And that other piece of round steel I'm going to use to replace this on another area. Because you can see, like, this mounting bracket is in really good shape. The pin is in good shape. And there's 2 areas that I have to replace this part here. All the lower pins are all good, in really good shape. But this one here in the front, when I went to, well, right off the bat, the pin was totally rotted. It was like halfway there. And then the bracket, when I tried to remove the pin, that was so rotted that it just broke apart. And then when I removed the support for the pin, I found out under the frame there was a hole. So what I did is actually fabricated this patch for the frame out of thicker gauge steel, welded that in, cleaned it up, and now I'm gonna make up another bracket for this here. And on this side, where I made the frame repair, you might see in one of my older videos, I repaired this part of the frame. This mounting bracket was in really bad shape. Actually, it was all gone. It was totally rotted off. So I already made this one here. So all I have to do on this quarter right here is just replace the pin and put that spacer in. So to replicate the bracket that holds that pin, I'm going to use this 2.5 inch by 1.5 inch square stock. And before I'm gonna cut it here, This measurement is 1.25 inches down to this, and this is what is shown on the other brackets. That's the size they go to. So what I'm going to do now is drill out this hole. Before I cut it off of here, I'm going to drill this hole out for the pin, the mounting pin, and make sure that works. I'm just mainly using this just to get rid of the burrs. I'll just hit it with a wire brush and have the edges all clear. Even though I like the shape of this bracket that I made, I really didn't like how it sits on the frame and there isn't a lot of surface area to weld to. This takes a lot of blunt of a lot of pressure. So what I decided to do is just modify it a little bit more, and I put these 2 legs on it that I can also weld around. The inside one I'm not going to worry about welding now. If at some point I have to take this radiator out, I'll weld it then. I'll get it on the back side here. But I think if I have this area welded around here, this side takes a lot of the force because it's being pushed up like this all the time. So I think with those surfaces welded at this time will be good enough. So what I'm going to do now is actually weld the pin in here before I mount it and get that in position, and then I can put the spacer on after. So it looks like this pin is supposed to be about 5 inches long, but what I'm going to do is make it like a 1/2 inch longer, because I can always cut off the excess after, and I just don't want to come up short once I have it welded to the bracket. I'd rather have it long and then have to cut it off after. I cut a piece of 3/4 steel pipe off at 5/8 of an inch. That is the spacer size for the back shock, and it's the same as the front shock over there. So now what I'm going to do is weld this onto here, in onto the bracket, and we should be ready to drill the hole at the end of the pin to receive the 1/4 pin. So I repeated the process on the back rear bracket. I got the pin in, I got the spacer put in, and I actually painted it up just so it'd be all sealed up. So now I'm going to go through the process of actually mounting the shocks. I got 4 of them here. I kind of like these old boxes. I think they're kind of cool. The labeling and stuff. I think I like old looking things like this. So now I'm going to go and start installing those. I'm going to spray a little soapy water on it just so reduce the friction on the rubber when I put these on. All right, so I'm gonna repeat that process. All right, so I got all the shocks mounted. They all look really good. They all fit good. The brackets seem to be holding up pretty well. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for today. As you saw at the beginning of the video, we got about a foot of snow dumped on us last night. So I'm going to go out and start doing some shoveling, me, Tracie, and the boys. So I'm kind of glad we got all the shocks put in, and everything's going pretty well. You know, piece by piece, this is coming together. Next week, I'm going to work towards getting this body drop down and do a test fit, and with the test fit I will also be able to mount the floorboards when it's in that position. So that's going to be the goal for next week, is at least get started on that. That might be a couple of part video series, because that's going to be a lot of work to do that. So that's going to be it for today, and everybody have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. That's coming up next week. And everybody stay healthy. See you guys. How's it going?
So far so good, except for my lighting isn't fantastic, but all base coats are on, except for shoes. And again, I'm going to start doing the highlighting and the shadowing, but the base coats are on. I had a... So yeah, no, so far so good. I think he's beautiful.